Whether you're a die-hard fan or just looking for a good laugh, this monthly series promises to deliver the unexpected with a dash of humor. Tune in as Gene and BT dissect the what-the-fuck moments that makes pro wrestling the exciting spectacles they are. It's time to let loose and embrace the madness with the WTF News Desk, where Gene and BT bring you the 10 strangest and most fun topics each month, leaving you entertained, amused, and eagerly awaiting the next episode.
All right, we're live for 304 Studios in Jonesboro, Arkansas. This is an stspod.club production. I'm BT, and that's Gene over there. And let me just tell you, the mornings here in Jonesboro have been colder than a brass toilet seat on a shady side of an iceberg. I just want you to know that, Gene. Also, real quick, no truth to the rumor that during Gene's gallbladder surgery, they found 24-karat diamonds inside the organ. No truth whatsoever to that. This is episode 91 of WTF and episode 1001 of STS Pod. Gene, he's from Gadsden, Alabama, the home of the Gadsden City Titans high school team. They finished 7-3, only losing one game in their division. Playoffs start tonight, right there in Gadsden. If you're in the area, quit listening to us right now. Quit listening to us. Get down there. Get some tickets. They are available. They're going against the Jasper Vikings in the playoffs. He is the wrestling know-it-all, my new partner in crime, my best friend, well, most of the time, Gene Jackson. And together, we are the sweet and sassy of podcasting. How the hell are you, Gene?
I'm good. And would you believe that I have never, in all my years of living here, attended a Gadsden Titans football game?
Get down there, brother. Well, let's quit right now. We'll
all right.
And you get them tickets, and it's playoffs. I mean, they only lost one game in their division, so be good. Be good game.
I don't know much about football, but that sounds like it's probably good, right? That's probably what you want to do.
Yeah. I mean, I looked at their division. I mean, their playoffs. And it was like Dave Meltzer did it with the ratings. The way he finds the ratings, I was like, there's games over here. There's games. Wait, how does that all end up in the end there? But, yeah, crazy stuff going on there in Gadsden.
Well, let me just say that nobody goes as in-depth and as far as BT for an introduction. He's over here studying football statistics of the Gadsden High School football team just to be able to quote them in my introduction on this show, folks. I hope you appreciate the links that BT goes to entertain you. It's impressive.
Oh, it's crazy. You know, I'm a numbers whore, and so we're going to talk about business first. But yes, I do spend some time with that intro. I have a good time with that. Number 3, and I think this is the second time it's happened in 6 months or 7 months we've been doing this together. 5-minute time limit. That was episode 13, episode 990. In the WTF News Desk, episode 991, we're tied. Now, this is only audio plays. This is nothing else. Number 2 was Hit Me With Your First Shot. Poison with Scotty Wentz. And number 1 was I'm sorry. Hit Me With Your Best Shot was Poison open up and say, with Josh Briley of the USWA podcast. And then number 1 was Hit Me With Your First Shot, ELO, Out of the Blue. I had never listened to that album at all. Great time with a new friend of mine, Bruce McGee. Fun show. We're 2% away from beating the most audio plays of all time for a year. I'm excited about it to see what happens. We finished 4th best audio plays in the last 12 months for October, down on Memphis Wrestling YouTube and archives, up on the Retro YouTube. Second best of all time on Instagram. Best Facebook number ever. And we have a 24% increase from last year at this time. So it's still going in. I'm really hoping we break our all-time record from 2023, but we will break last year's record, which was second best. So I'm excited. We're doing a lot of things, cross-promoting and being on the USWA podcast. I think it helps out a lot.
Oh, absolutely, man. Recently, the episode of the Retro USWA show, trying to think of the title of it, but Steve Kern's name was in the title, and it was a picture of him for the thumbnail. And that was the most listened to episode of the Retro USWA show of the 1991 season so far. And the last 2 or 3 weeks, our first 24-hour listens have increased like 30%. So more
wow.
finding us and more people are listening. So that's awesome. And yeah, I credit it to all the cross promoting we're doing, and your show's finding new audience, my shows are finding new audiences across yours. So don't see a downside to it, man. Glad we're doing it. Have fun doing it, and we'll keep it going.
I love it because I've told you about this on the podcast before, but if you look at archive numbers, if you go, well, say the last 7 days, you start looking at people that how many new people, in the sense that if you look at the archives, that means you've got new people coming in and listen to old episodes.
Right.
And we had, a lot from this past month, but past 3 months, it looks like everybody's jumping on one or the other. USWA has with the Facebook page, got a huge audience. And it's fun to have some of those people jumping over. I really do. I've had a really good time with the USWA. It's become part of I know it sounds melodramatic, but it has become part of my life. I was watching it with y'all, but being able to sit down every Sunday has been real fun.
I wish we could get, everybody that's watching the videos on the USWA page to listen to the podcast, because it's crazy, man. I put these videos up over there, and they'll break 1,000 within 24 hours, and some of them are just hitting absurd numbers. Like if you go to the USWA podcast Facebook page and check that out, let's go to the video section and click on it. Let's go through and look at the views on those videos. Some of them are insane.
I know it's just nuts when you put a clip that we've seen in 1991, and it's just interview a promo that Jackie Fargo did, or just something like that, and then it's just crazy numbers. It makes me smile because I've always been a huge Memphis wrestling fan. And it's fun being part of the USWA podcast. All right,
and that 90s, real quick, for just say that 90s Memphis don't always get a lot of love either. Like most people focus on the 70s and 80s Memphis, and 90s don't always get a lot of love. And these are all the videos we put on there are all from the 90s. So I think people underestimate people's affection for 90s USWA too, and we're cashing in on it.
Well, we talk about it all the time on the episode, but I think Eric Embry got a bad rep. I mean, we've only seen, a few months so far of his booking, but if you have heard bad things about Eric Embry, go look at the details this man's doing in booking, and it's fun. And we do know the 90s do get much worse.
Oh, yeah.
But those shows, I'm going to tell you, I'm just thankful that everything's been so good so far.
Yep. Sorry.
All right, let's quit talking about retro. We'll talk about a retro moment here in just a minute. But we start out this month with number 10, as we always do. This is Something Strange in the Neighborhood. We're going to do it like we did last month, in which I present to you 3 matches from DDT Wrestling, and you tell me which match is not real. All right, so the first match, we had a convenience store survival match. It was Antonio Honda and Kazuda Hoduchi. The ring was surrounded by actual convenience store shelves stocked with snacks, magazines, and instant noodles, also known as ramen or whatever you want to call them. Weapons must be purchased at the mock register before they can use them. Mid-match, Antonio Honda slipped on spilled ramen noodle while Hamaguchi tried to use a pan as brass knuckles. I guess he grabbed a pan over there. A referee spot involved scanning um, a bent up thing of ramen that was all bent up with a barcode, and he couldn't get it to work. They ended up with expression of time match. That sounds like USWA. The time ran out. All right, that was match 1. Match 2 was a Halloween Rumble with schoolboys, schoolgirls, a Japanese Teletubby. We had one wrestler run in dressed as Chucky and stabbed somebody with a machete. We had Antonio Honda came out in his character Piro Akataka, which is a tribute to Hulk Hogan, and it's a tribute because he rips off the shirt, and the room was so cold that he tried to put the shirt back on. And then the last one you have to pick, it was Tramel and Gene against Cherry and Strawberry. I don't know what their tag team partner was. I just made up Strawberry. Was held under heat up senior rules, given the age of all the wrestlers involved. The first wrestler to score I found this odd, a 15 count pinfall wins the match, but they could only lose the match by using a rope break 3 times. Punching and kicking was also prohibited under punishment of getting a butt slap every time you punched or kicked. And if a wrestler broke a rule 3 times, they would be disqualified. So, Gene, which one of those?
Jesus, this is so much harder than it should be. I'm going to say the third one's not real.
All right. Well, it was the first one.
Damn it.
The convenience store battle royal, and I even had ChatGPT make us see a ramen noodle.
The only thing that made me think the first one was real is you had so many freaking details of the match that I thought, man, it went out. That was a long way to go for. Damn it! All right.
Thank you, ChatGPT.
I'm 0-2, by the way, on these.
Do what? Yeah, we like to use AI. Me and Gene do. Damn it, we love AI. So there you go. I got some stuff to play on this one, so I'm going to take a little overlay off and talk about you. You know, Gene. You know what number 9 is, right?
Yes.
It's what the fuck, Dave. Yes. All right. I want to play this, and then we can talk about it because he is so stuck on this. So let me make sure this is the right video.
I thought that when they left, that Penta probably would do better in WWE, and that Phoenix would not do better. And I thought that, it probably was the right move if those two. I mean, they're brothers, and they want to be, and they're close and everything. But I thought it was like Penta go, seriously, you're better off in WWE, but don't push to go together. And Phoenix was just so gung ho, and they're brothers and everything. But I thought that Phoenix was making the wrong move, and now I think that it's more and more clear that he did. I'm Dragon Lee as well. I think I'm not as sure with Dragon Lee because
That's all I'm playing with that. But we have talked about this before, and I just really wanted. Why does he think going to the WWE is a bad thing?
Well, because they're leaving his favorite promotion that clearly he's on the payroll of in some description. The part I don't understand is, am I wrong? But I thought, from everything that I read at the time and since, that Phoenix was not on television for AEW for months before he left. Had not been on TV, and there was no plans for him moving forward. So how would he have been better off to still be in AEW? It doesn't matter if they jobbed Phoenix out every week. If he's on television and getting paid, then it's better out of sight, out of mind. You're devalued every week. These guys sit on the payroll. I mean, great, you're on the payroll, you're on the roster of AEW. Every week you're not on TV, you're further out of sight, out of mind. You're becoming less relevant. Now, if the only other option is just to be some indie guy that's not on TV anyway, great, make that money. But if you have the option, if WWE wants you, why would you not?
I don't understand the point how Dragon Lee would have been better there. If someone would be better there. Um, they have so many people, Gene. They cannot push everything. There's something that I've had to tell people before. No, even the WWE, you can't push everybody. Somebody will have a losing streak, and then all of a sudden they'll start. Sami Zayn's a perfect example. He just goes in cycles, and
Yeah.
that's what the business does. Some people don't understand the cycles, but if someone's going to tell me, I'll give you WWE exposure for how long? Let's sign a 3-year contract. Dude, why not? Well, I would go there before AEW because 5 times as many people is gonna see me. I can charge more when I'm done. If I go to AEW and they're still around, I can ask more at AEW after I
Yeah.
go back. So it's just a plus thing.
I heard a podcaster, the British guy that does the show with Dutch. I heard him
Yeah.
say recently that AEW has 160 people under contract. Is that real? Does that sound right?
That does sound right because at
Good
one
Lord.
point, you got to remember they're doing ROH tapings, they're doing Collision, and then the pay-per-views, and then you got there's so many people sitting at home, and none of that makes any sense to me. None of it, just grabbing them up. Dave had this too. He has to get on Twitter and defend everything that Tony Khan does. And it don't even matter what this says. And if you're not watching the video, it pretty much just saying that Tony Khan takes care of people instead of jobbing them out when they get ready to leave AEW. But my problem is, why does he always have to defend everything that AEW does?
I don't know, but he blindly does it and has for a long time. No one can say. Apparently people can because they do. Try to say that he's, not showing favoritism to AEW, but that's bull.
I know it, and it makes
every time he does this, he's just ruining his credibility. Whatever he has left each and every week, like when this, number 9 pops up each month, I think, good God, he's got so much to choose from here. Like, how do you narrow it down now, month to month? How do you narrow down what's the craziest thing Dave said this month? And it's usually always something crazy he says in favor of AEW, trying to diminish the WWE.
He also an observer. He talked about Aleister Black and Rusev have already lost as many matches as they did in their WWE run. Again, trying to put it how horrible it is that Black and Rusev are in WWE instead of AEW. And then the last tweet that he had that I had to comment on, and like you said, I had like 4 or 5, 6, 7 of these things, and I tried to narrow it down to 3.
This could be each month this could just be WTF, and it could just be Meltzer for the last month.
And he's even involved in one of the other posts down the line. Talking about the Young Bucks. Now, I consider you a wrestling historian. That makes you old, by the way. I just want you to know that. And you've seen a lot of tag teams in your life. And I'm not taking anything away from the Young Bucks. Their style's totally different than probably any tag team I've ever seen. I was a big fan of theirs, and we talked about this on the Patreon when we were watching FTR and the Briscoe brothers. We actually got into a little bit of AEW stuff, but I really think they were a good team. At first, I thought they were spot monkeys. I enjoyed them. Then I got tired. Even the wife said, I've watched Young Buck matches, and it just feels like they're all the same. They all got the same. But he's comparing the Young Bucks. He really thinks that they're more important to wrestling, or they've been more important to everything, generating more than guys like the New Day and the Usos and just people that's been, in the WWE or in wrestling for a long time. Even FTR saying they had good matches. But and I brought this up because he's always talking good about AEW, but I also brought this up because I wanted you, the historian, to weigh in on what you think about the Bucks. Where are they when it comes to, Midnight Express, the Fabs, some of those Japanese teams that we watched before? Where's the Young Bucks fit in on best tag team of all time?
I mean, in his post, he's trying to weigh in the fact that they helped create AEW, which makes them historically significant. And you can, take that for what it is. But if you're strictly saying as a tag team in wrestling, from that perspective, and I same as you, I was a fan of the Young Bucks until I wasn't, and I don't know that they're in the top 25 tag teams of all time in my estimation. I mean, they're you can't rank them alongside Rock and Roll Express, Midnight Express, Heart Foundation, the British Bulldogs. I don't think they prove to not have that kind of longevity. They have the same style of matches over and over, and that had about a 5-year window, maybe we'll say 10 to be nice, that made them really relevant, and they were able to go from Reseda, California indies up to help creating this national promotion. But what that national promotion proved was that on a national level, on a weekly television show, their style does not hold up. And I don't think to a national audience, their size and the way they've presented themselves, more importantly, I think guys of a certain size can be believable and be relevant, but the wishy-washy way they've promoted themselves, the flipping back and forth between heel and babyface, the year-long losing streak they put themselves on when you were trying to establish AEW, and that's when they needed to put themselves over and establish who they were. I think they were dead in the water after that. I don't think they've ever recovered from that. And all of their little smarky insider bullshit that has been part of their gimmick and part of their story. Like almost every storyline they're involved in, you've got to know this backstory. You got to know this history, and you got to have all this inside knowledge for half the things that get said and done to make sense. And for the people out here who know that stuff and love that stuff, well, that's just wonderful. And you'll see them tweeting, they're the greatest tag team of all time, and they just had the greatest tag team match. And if you think that, wonderful. But to the average fan, which is what you got to weigh most of this with, because that's where most of the money comes from, I don't think they're in the top. I'm probably being nice by saying top 25, don't you? I mean, I don't know that they're in the top 50, but they're definitely not higher than that.
I may disagree with you a little bit there. I think maybe they might, because of what they've done, but it's going to be tarnished by what happens. If you go by what he's talking about, we've talked about this before, and me being such a mark for them, Hot Topic and selling all those shirts and the hustle that these two guys had with their wives. Their wives was huge into what they were doing. And then, but the mark on the business, to compare them with New Day, who's been in WWE for X amount of years, there's no comparison even to the New Day. And I'm not saying New Day is the best tag team ever. I'm just saying it's one of those things where I don't know if they're in the top 10. I do know they're not the Rock and Roll Express. They're not the Midnight Express. They're not those All Japan tag teams. They're not. And I could just keep on going on and on. And like you said, I might get to 27 before I say, okay, they're good to go.
Yeah, because my point there is, okay, I understand they blew themselves up on the independents, and yes, they got into Hot Topic and all that shit, and that's great. But that was for a very small window of time. Yep. They made themselves hot. Now you can go to just about any Walmart store in America, and on the clearance side of things, you've got 50 Young Bucks action figures there because nobody cares anymore. Nobody gives a shit. And that's the thing. It's like, okay, well, you can be relevant for a very small window of time, but the couple times I watched the show, you can watch the crowd reaction. Like I say, people don't even really know how they're supposed to react to them because they do babyface high spots, but they're always supposed to be like tongue in cheek fucking heels. And even then it's not like real heel heat. It's just like, oh, we're the bosses.
Yeah, I don't know. None of it makes any sense to me. There is we were talking about this on the Patreon. I grabbed something from the Last Observer, but there is a core, and I preach this all the time when we were doing Dynamite. There's going to be a core, a certain amount of people watching this show, but it's going to keep being less and less because of the shit that you do and turn people off. All right, we talked about the Young Bucks more than I wanted to, but I think it's a good thing. It might be a Cool Kids Countdown that we don't call it that. We call it the Countdown Show now that me and you sit down and do the top 10 tag teams of all time. Be interested to see.
We're not cool kids anymore.
No, we're not.
By any definition of the term.
All right, this is our monthly number 8. I am not a know-it-all. Well, you are, but I'm not.
No.
But I know more than you. I did mark out the tweet. Didn't want the person to be on here. If it's not a famous person, I usually don't have them actually talk about them. But I thought this was interesting because they're putting Rhea Ripley. Now, I'm okay. This is a fan. I understand you being a Rhea Ripley fan, but is a bigger star and far more talented than, and who are you going to put in that? Brock Lesnar? Come on. What was your thoughts on this?
I mean, it's laughable, but and you see this every day, especially on Twitter. Everybody thinks they're the center of the world, and whatever they think represents the masses. And the way I measure something like this is my dad is a casual wrestling fan at this point.
Right.
I can call my dad right now and go, hey, Dad, Brock Lesnar. And he knows exactly who I'm talking about. Hey, Dad, Rhea Ripley. He has even though he watches it from time to time, he still doesn't know who Rhea Ripley is.
Hey, before we move on to the next number here, I just so everyone knows I'm not shitting on Rhea Ripley. I'm a huge Rhea Ripley fan, but if I was drafting workers, wrestlers, stars, I would pick Brock Lesnar every day over Rhea Ripley. Now, let's get on to number 7, and it is the retro moment, and I always point it to you to talk about the retro moment. I got this off the Observer, but really interesting.
Charles Manson wanted to meet Bray Wyatt, ex-WWE writer claims. That's interesting. So who is the ex-WWE writer that claimed this?
I mean, you got somebody doing a podcast saying that somebody knew somebody. That's kind of what this is. Somebody knew somebody in prison, and he really wanted to meet Ray Wyatt because this is the funny part. They were on the Freddie Prinze Jr. podcast. One of the writers said he said he didn't know whether the story had been out, but Mike Rotunda knew about it, that he wanted to meet Bray. And the reason I brought it up mainly is I think it's hilarious that Charles Manson, of all people, he got worked, Gene.
Yeah.
Charles Manson got worked. He started getting into this character, and all of a sudden, he wants to meet Bray Wyatt, and it's just a gimmick.
Yeah, but it's funny. When I read that headline and was thinking about it driving down the road the other day, listening to some of those Bray Wyatt promos, you can hear a little bit of Charles Manson in those, I think. So I see why it would have caught his attention and he would have wanted to talk to him, whether he was, sold on it or bought into it or not. But I do think that has to be one of the people that Bray maybe studied a bit and wrapped into that character for sure. And it's funny to know that he actually saw it and liked it.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think that's where he got a lot of stuff, not only from Bray, from Manson, but he got some stuff from other cult leaders or serial killers or whatever. Very strange guy. I've only seen... I think about it. I've only seen maybe one interview where Bray was Bray instead of, he wasn't in character. He was shooting. But it was very short. It was only like 30 minutes. but likable guy, and very just different. He seemed to be different, and I think a lot of people thought that about him backstage and wanted to work with him. So, all right, that was our retro moment. Bray Wyatt hooks up with Manson. Maybe that wasn't the way to say that.
Relive the glory days of Memphis wrestling with the Retro Wrestling Review USWA podcast. Each week, we go back in time to review USWA Championship Wrestling from the 1990s, episode by episode. Join us for watch-alongs, behind-the-scenes stories, and exclusive interviews with people who were there and lived it. Whether you grew up watching it or you're discovering it for the first time, this podcast is your ringside seat Memphis wrestling history. It's all a part of the WrestleCopia Podcast Network. Listen now at uswapodcast.com.
All right, we're up to number six. Number six. I'm going to play this clip, and then we can talk about it afterwards, but I have titled number 6, JR is racist. And you know what?
By God.
I am just totally shocked that a guy from Oklahoma, deep in the South, is racist. I'm just shocked. Shocked, Gene.
From the first day that we ever got together, that we ever experienced, or you ever experienced racism?
No, I didn't experience it when we were together because of the fact that when we got together, we were in ECW. And in ECW, I did not experience it. I experienced it in WWE. You know, I experienced it with certain top officials who I don't really want to go and say any names because I feel.
Say names. Say names.
Well, you know, I'm just going to say it like this, you know. You know, I didn't wear a 10-gallon hat or anything, but my point was, you know, when a person.
No Sooners.
Yeah, but when a person comes up to you and tells you that they don't like you because of the color of your skin, and you're sitting up there going, wow, really? We're in 1999, 2000, and you're still coming to me and saying crap like this? There were certain people in that organization in that time that felt that I should not have said anything, who had power to basically bury me if need be, just because I might have stood up for what I felt was right.
Not a big surprise because we both know racist, is that a word? Racist people that
An
are
extra ist in there.
in the wrestling business. But I thought it was funny that they kind of went after JR there.
Well, you know, I thought the same thing that you said before leading into the video when I read, you know, number 6, JR's racist. I was like, well, he's an old white dude from Oklahoma who was Bill Watts' right-hand man. I mean, yeah, he's probably a little racist. The thing I found shocking about that video that I can't wrap my head around, I'm not saying I don't believe Devon, but in the time frame that this happened, if you take him at face value for what he said, like, I just can't picture JR just walking up to Devon like, hey, man, I don't like you because you're black. Like, in what context do you even say that to somebody? You know what I mean? Like, and again, not saying it didn't happen. It probably did, but holy shit, what a awful thing to say to somebody, and just the balls to just outwardly say something like that to a dude that could beat the shit out of him if he wanted to very easily. But I would like to have known a little more context to what conversation was being had that JR felt the need to express that, you know.
I thought it was Bubba Ray knew exactly who he's talking to,
yeah.
but you know, they've been on the road together forever. But as soon as he started talking, and I even think Maven there, if you're not watching the video, it was Maven with Bubba Ray and Devon. And I think maybe Maven knew exactly all of a sudden who he was going to say was racist in WWE. You know, we've heard, you know, sexual allegations, all kinds of stuff that goes on behind the scenes. You know, I have heard some of the legends in pro wrestling say the N-word. It surprised me when I did hear him say it, but I'm not around people in dressing rooms now very much, but I don't feel like it's part of the, you know, you don't say that, and they don't care whether you're black, white, green, or blue in the independent scene, especially around here. They're going to push who they can push that the fans want to see.
I'm trying to remember, because he starts saying, before they really make it clear who he's talking about, you know, they just say top WWE officials, which that covers some ground.
Right.
Has there really been? I mean, God knows there's been every kind of allegation you can think of, but has there really been racial allegations made against Vince over the years? I'm trying to think of who or what was ever said about Vince as far as accusing him of being racist. I can't think.
I don't remember hearing anything about that. I remember seeing reports where they would show how many people were pushed, black people were pushed, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
I've seen, we're gonna talk about Booker T here at halftime, but I've seen Booker T pretty much push back on all that. In the sense that he said he wasn't treated any different. It's kind of like, if you got the talent, and I know Devon has the talent, what is it? Cream rises to the crop, or crop roses, whatever the
cream rises to the top. I think you're conflating that with Macho Man's cream of the crop promo.
Maybe that's it. Maybe that's it, Gene. But yeah, that's one of those things where it makes you wonder. Booker T extremely talented, and WWE pushed him, to the top. So it'll be interesting to see. I know JR got a little upset about it, but I would too if somebody was online talking, saying BT was racist. Even though it's true, at least I don't want them saying that. This is Patreon, right? I'm sorry.
No, not yet.
Oh, my bad. My bad. All right. We're going to go to a commercial break. And then when we come back, well, it's everyone's favorite. It is everyone's favorite. It's called Halftime.
Don't miss Memphis Wrestling Live. Sunday, November 23rd, Jerry the King Lawler is coming to Memphis Wrestling. Meet the King at our VIP experience, plus Santa Claus is coming to town. Monday and Tuesday, November 24th and 25th, Memphis Wrestling's Kids Camp returns for Thanksgiving break. Register now. Sunday, December 14th, it's our annual Grind City Rumble featuring the Good Brothers, Gallows, and Anderson, along with TNA's Hometown Maine. And be on the lookout for our 2026 schedule. All tickets are on sale now. Get yours right now at memphiswrestling.tv.
Get ready, wrestling fans. MCW is bringing you the action like never before. Experience the high-flying moves, the bone-crushing slams, and the rivals that can only be settled inside the square ring. This is family-friendly live professional wrestling at its very best. Don't just hear about it, be there when the superstars of MCW collide in unforgettable matches you'll talk about for weeks. Tickets are affordable, the action's nonstop, and the excitement is guaranteed. MCW Wrestling, where the future of wrestling happens now. Be there! All right, halftime, right smack in the middle. Booker T, I'm not going to play the video or anything, but I wanted to talk about with you. You don't watch the, I don't know how to say this, modern day wrestling on a regular basis. You watch the clips. If there's something that you're really interested in, you go out of your way. I do that a lot for other promotions, but I do watch the WWE on a regular basis, just the two main shows and the pay-per-views. But let's talk about Mercedes Moné. Booker T said that if she wanted to come to his promotion, he would probably put the belt on her also. What's your feelings, Gene, on Moné walking around with all these belts? What, she's got 11, 12, 22, or whatever now?
I mean, who cares? We've done so much to diminish titles meaning anything. People are taking the opportunity to hang their title on somebody who they think is famous enough that she can do more for their title than the title can do for her. And so now, she's like the female Ultimo Dragon walking around with all these belts. And I mean, none of it really means anything, but good for her and good for the companies who think it's going to do them some good. I mean, I guess it can't hurt anything, but I just indifferent to it.
I don't know, because when I saw Dragon with all those belts, it was funny because I always thought that's cool. But then when I see her with the belts, the only thing I can think of is belt mark. And then you got guys like Meltzer saying she's the best female wrestler we've ever seen.
I've never seen it. I mean, I thought she was decent enough as Sasha Banks, but I didn't even think she was. I don't know. I keep going to these top numbers. I didn't even think she was one of the top 5 women wrestler in WWE at the time she was there. I thought that, Charlotte and Becky Lynch and Bayley and all these other women were far, more talented than her. And what little bit I've seen of her in AEW, I haven't been impressed with at all. And to me, for him, since he's got such a hard on for AEW, I mean, if you want to talk about the best women's wrestler as far as AEW is concerned, I think it's Toni Storm all day, because she is great in the ring and she has developed a completely unique character that's gotten her over and, I mean, raised her up many notches from where she was when she got there. But yet Monet is just riding off this reputation she had from the WWE as Sasha Banks. What is she the CEO of? Is that an acronym for something? I can't figure out this whole
I
CEO
have no
bullshit.
idea. I can't get into it. She has zero reaction when she comes out, but she just keeps being pushed. And, I don't think she's worth. I don't think she'd be worth the money. And, I look at this through Memphis wrestling eyes sometimes. Bringing her, say, into Memphis. I had somebody message me. Bring her into Memphis wrestling and have her win their belt. I don't think the eyes are going to be that much, because there's no telling how much she's going to be asking. I'd say 10,000 at the least. She's going to be asking.
Are the numbers that are out there about what AEW is paying her even remotely real?
I mean, I think so. When you look at they did a breakdown that somehow has been, Dutch and his partner talked about it one time, but it kind of been swept under the rug, the breakdown of how much each show is costing them. And when they did it, they showed what the talent was making on just that show, which is a smart way to look at what your business is doing. But then you look at it and say, how the fuck are they making any money? So I'm just not a fan.
How can she provide a return on what they're paying for her when she's got go away heat? Like, nobody wants to see her. So how is it justified to pay her that much money? It's crazy.
She's the best female wrestler of all time. All right.
Saying it enough someday maybe to be believable.
There you go. Halftime, folks. That was halftime. All right, we're back with 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 5, as always, Smarks be acting crazy. They went nuts when we had Darby Allin on the podcast talking about the morale of AEW. He said it's amazing. I'm not just saying that. Say, like a few years ago, you definitely felt like this tension, but now it's like everybody's on the same page. And after he said that, the internet blew up and thought it was about CM Punk.
Well, because there's that line in there about they cut out the cancer.
Yes, they cut out the cancer. Everybody, it's CM Punk. Well, apparently they talked about it some more, and we go back to Aleister Black and Rusev and some of and that would not do jobs. They did not want to lose, and this always goes back to me saying the boss should be able to tell you that you lose or win. Yeah. I had one of my tag team guys one time. I had him. I said, "Look, it was Cade. I want you to pin Rick. Rick's like tons bigger than Cade." And Rick was like, "Man, it's not believable. They're doing a double team move on him." So Rick did the job for like 6 months. Every match that we did, I just had to prove to him, coming up with different finishes and such. But to me, that's real telling about what goes on backstage, where there's, everybody can dictate whether they lose, or they got the Hulk Hogan power, which is just retarded to me. I'm not supposed to say that word. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Goldberg got pissed a bunch of people off when he said WWE had some girl beat his record. What'd you think about that?
I mean, I'm not a fan of Goldberg. I think he's ridiculous, especially the way he's they say he got into wrestling for the money and he didn't have any love for it and was never a fan, but goddamn if he ain't a mark for it. He keeps proving time and time again. But yeah, I think he even said, like, threw in like some Asian girl or some Oriental girl or some offensive line as well. Well, they did. I don't think they did it like, hey, let's screw Goldberg.
In his mind, they did. Yeah.
In his mind, everything that happens is somehow tied to him. So
it's weird when your last name is Goldberg and you're wanting to be racist. You had a racist term for somebody. I thought that's the internet went good and bad on this one, and the marks were acting crazy as Mox tried to drown Darby Allin. Did you see that clip?
I did. I don't even know what to say about it, man. I
told y'all about it on USWA show. Y'all thought I was making it up.
We talked about it on Patreon, and we were jokingly, because you said, Moxley's trying to drown Darby Allin, but Sting came to his rescue. And me and Josh at the same time both said jokingly, "Oh, did he bust the aquarium with his bat?" And you're like, "Yeah, he did." And we're like, "What?" So immediately when we got done, I went and found the clip, and which wasn't hard because you had shared it by that point, and I was just like, "This is wrestling. These are the guys." And I keep going back to this, and there's Twitter people who can get mad, and they can put some, smart ass vague tweet about it later. But this is the company that sold itself in the beginning about how they were going to get over on competition and stats, and they were going to be the believable wrestling company. And we're out here drowning people in aquariums and busting. It's just crazy.
I know. It sounds like I made it up. It's like, well, he chopped his leg off with a hatchet, and they go, really? Okay, what's next? It's the same thing. It's like every time after the pay-per-view, you think, well, what happened to Darby Allin? I mean, I don't even know how the guy's going to be alive or be able to walk in 10 years, not in 20 years, but in 10 years. And the final thing, the internet, and even you made a post. That's one of the reasons why I throw this on here, so that you could tell your post. I thought was hilarious. But let's take a look at who was in court.
Hours before Hulk Hogan's death became public.
He's fully insured. He did send 2 apology notes out through counsel. Understands the seriousness of the case, understands he qualifies for the program, and assures the court this won't happen again.
The prosecution didn't object to the AR program.
That was Vince McMahon. He's in the court for that wreck that he had. I'm going to tell you what I saw first, and then you can tell about your comment. Man, he has that face smoothed out with some of that Botox, don't he? I mean, it's Kenny Rogers looking to me.
Thank God he got rid of that freaking little mustache he was trying to pull off there, because boy, that wasn't helping at all. But I can't remember who I sent it to, but I saw a picture of something similar to what you just showed there, and I don't remember if it was Doug or Wolfie, or I don't remember what friend it was, but I sent that picture to a friend and said, "What do you think of Sputnik McMahon's new hairdo?" And they put, "That's hilarious," and I thought, well, let's just share it with everybody. And so I threw it over on my Facebook. But that was the first person that came to mind when I saw that hairdo, was Sputnik Monroe with that streak in the front. It's just, what an odd choice for a man of his age and alleged distinction.
I thought it was hilarious. It was one of those things, but I thought it was even funnier. I always try to get the best ones, but how crazy people get over stuff like, I mean, especially Vince. So Twitter is just a cesspool. It's the worst. But as soon as you post a video of Vince McMahon, it's like everybody's sharing it. They got their own opinion and blah, blah, blah. It's just crazy. It's crazy. All right. That was 5. 4 is wrestlers behaving badly. I wanted to bring this up because MVP shoots on Dave Meltzer, says he actually says that wrestlers don't perform for the fans, they're performing to get star ratings. And he went on to say, that's one person. They're trying to get a match out of one person. Let's see what Dave had. Dave actually responded to that.
Now, the audience of one, he said, was me. And it's just like, it was actually funny when I read that, because it's just like, the funniest thing about wrestling is that, and nobody talks about it, and I think some people know it, but most don't, is that, in fact, it's always been an audience of one. And it's absolutely not me, is that person. In AEW, at the end of the day, it's like, he's going like, they don't perform before the fans, they're performing to get star ratings. And it's like, that's obviously ludicrous. But at the end of the day, you're still performing for the audience of one, because the fans will impact Tony Khan.
All right. I get what Dave is saying, that Vince was always the last person, and you always perform for your boss. But I do think, MVPs hit the nail on the head there.
Yeah. I think that's AEW's biggest problem, is you got wrestlers putting on matches for star ratings and not for what's going to make people want to tune in and see this stuff again next week. I think MVP hit it right on the head. But yeah, to Dave's point, for years and years and years before that, it was an audience one of Vince McMahon. But and I mean, yeah, you're always going to be performing for your boss, but they're performing for Dave, because if you make Dave happy and you get those star ratings, you make Tony Khan happy. So that's
right.
Just a twofer.
It's just really sad. I remember doing my Wrestling Right online, and there was a guy in the dressing room, or some guys in the dressing room said, "Oh, BT's there. Let's try to make a better match." And this reminded me of that, and Alan Steele was the only person that would just, he came up and said, "BT, he's one guy, y'all. He's one guy, and he don't matter."
And you guys are the only one reading it.
Right. And I mean, and I talked to Alan afterwards. I said, "Man, don't kill my gimmick, But yeah, he was correct, by the way. I see that he was correct. Dave doesn't see that. Dave thinks that his star ratings mean something, or he wouldn't keep doing them. All right. And this is one of the things that will probably make Matt Riddle part of, we said we see him every fucking month. This is one of the stupidest things he's done. So believe it or not, one of the stupidest things he's done.
Well, we could stop.
No.
We could stop if you want.
Stop what?
The podcast.
What are you worried about?
I don't know. Okay. Whoa. No, it's cool.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. Don't.
Serious? Take that off. Tired of this.
All right, guys, I'm sorry. I played a video clip really without describing it, but I'll describe it real quick, because he's on a podcast, and then he shoots on one of the announcers and grabs him and throws him on a table. It looks like a really indie wrestling promotion.
Yeah, he's smiling as he throws the guy onto the table, by the way. God damn, man. I wish this dude would just chill out for a couple of months and maybe let people forget what a goof he's been for the last 6 months to a year, try to rebuild himself. Because I just now, when I hear the name Matt Riddle, automatically roll my eyes and think, what stupid shit am I about to hear? And I'm never disappointed, because it's always stupid shit. He's up to something dumb every month. He's, as we were reporting last month's dumb fuckery, this was happening like right the day before we shot.
I think you mentioned it. Yeah. Just he's one of those guys where you just he just gets in his own way. Then we had actor, professional wrestler Paul Walker Hauser. Paul
Hauser. You got on the paper, on the email here, Paul Hauser Walker. I was like, who's? Oh, wait a minute. Okay, I always call him Paul Walter Hausen.
Yeah. I'm actually a fan of this guy. He's done a few things that I really like. Great actor. Not a big fan of him being in the wrestling business, but that's me being. But he has to get on. He seems to think that getting on Twitter and telling everybody how WWE's shitty, greedy, and ugly for what they're charging people for for tickets. This is not only him. This is general census to a lot of people that WWE is charging too much.
They are.
They are. But Gene, and I'm not telling you anything, but it's all about supply and demand. Now, we've seen a few shows in the last few weeks start kind of pulling down 6,000, 7, not selling out. There's been excuses why. But until that happens and the crowds say, I'm not going to pay that amount, this will continue to happen. The prices will go up and people will continue to pay. And I just think it's, to me, it's just an actor who wants to be a wrestler getting out there telling his opinion, about the WWE.
I mean, I think his heart's in the right place because I think maybe he's a guy who probably got to go to wrestling when he was a kid, and that's where his love. Because the guy loves the business.
Oh,
he
does.
Going about whether or not you think he should be in it or whatever. He takes it seriously. I watched his match with what's his name, QT Marshall from that ROH pay-per-view, and you could tell he had trained for it, and he really tried his best to have a good match. It wasn't one of those tongue-in-cheek, hey, look at me, I'm wrestling type things. I mean,
right.
Fuck, he went in thumbtacks and all kinds of shit. And so, I think his heart's in the right place here, as he probably knows that, hey, if wrestling cost this when I was a kid, I'd have never went and seen it, I think that's what they're doing. I think they're pricing themselves out of the family realm, and that's going to be a problem eventually, because while you may spike money on seats, kids want the T-shirts and the action figures and all the merch, and you're going to start hurting yourself there. I do think they need to dial it back. But, I mean, who gives a shit what me or Paul Walterhausen thinks they're going to do?
Yeah, well, it's all supply and demand. As soon as we start seeing some, like I said, some wrinkles into playing, then we'll see them back off a little bit. But some of those tickets have been, and we joked around. We got a great, funny Patreon clip from USWA this past week that talks about how much they're charging for, SummerSlam, WrestleMania, and all that. But it is one of those things where, if they told me I spent $14,000 for tickets or to go to WrestleMania, someone told me that, I think they lost their fucking mind. Stay at home and watch it, because you're going to be watching. I don't understand concert prize tickets either. You're going to be watching it on the TV. You'll get a better view. I don't get it. I wouldn't pay that, but there are people that's paying it, as so long as there's people that's paying it. Same thing with, to me, it's, it goes, tennis shoes, the Nikes were always expensive no matter what. But there was always a demand for them. And now they're maybe 3 times they was when I was a kid, but there's still people buying them. So that's the reason they can sell them for that. All right, number 3 is Shock Me Wrestling's shocking moments for the month. And we might as well call this TK shit that TK does. And that's exactly what it's about this month. Number 3. One thing is he got caught giving the wrong numbers for attendance at All In to make himself look good. Now, part of this is funny because so many people found out he gave the wrong numbers. Dave didn't make a big deal about it, but also, guess what? It's the wrestling business. I know, Gene, this is going to shock you, but promoters lie.
What?
I know it. Shock me right there.
Goodness.
He also, if you have a taping and the guy gets a legit injury and you have 4 days to edit it out of the show, you should edit it out of the show.
Yeah.
Dude kept Kota Ibushi's injury. He broke his leg and he kept it in the TV tapings. I thought that was really stupid.
Well, it's not classy, that's for sure. I mean, granted, he knows a lot of people are going to get wind of it, and there's even going to be some weirdos out there that are going to tune in just to see it, the car crash types. but it's tacky. It's not a classy move for sure.
Oh, and the final thing, which I found hilarious, is that Andrade, which I call Mr. Andre, he debuted in AEW, and then they took him off the site and the roster because WWE said, "Hey, you can't do that. You're still under contract. We still have a no compete clause going on." That was hard for me to say.
You just ignore those no competes, man. Those contracts, they don't just work in your favor, BT. You don't just have a contract so you can guarantee you get paid. You got to read all that shit, you know?
It's crazy. Also, it's crazy that Tony Khan just said, "Okay, come on." He didn't have anybody read that contract, or no. He was on TV once, and then he disappeared, and everybody was like, well, what did he do this time? There was rumors that he had some, allegedly some drug problems, didn't show up being able to work, but that apparently people said that wasn't true, that he wanted to be released. They let him go. But they also got, like you said, got to read the contract, and don't know how legal that all that is, but or would it hold up in court? But it'd be interesting to see what happens to him in the next couple of years. I figure he'll end up back in WWE.
Yeah, because WWE controls most of Mexico now, so it's not like he can just go back to Mexico because WWE kind of has control of one and AEW's got a hook in the other one. So you're kind of beholden to one or the other unless you go to Japan, and I can't see that happening. But it's funny because I don't know if they just rushed him on out there and said, you know, contracts be damned. Let's bring him out and shock everybody on Dynamite this week, and pop a rating and hopefully stir something up. But most people really were just kind of rolling their eyes and being sarcastic the next day about, like, of course he showed back up. The guy bounces back and forth like a freaking ping pong ball. Who cares? And it really was like a non-news item. It wasn't a positive thing, really. It was just kind of like, yeah, of course he came back to AEW. That's what he does. He just bounces back and forth.
Such a talented guy, man.
Yeah.
I just hate it. He's so talented, such a good-looking guy. Did I say he's good-looking?
A few times. Well, I mean, you meant since we started recording.
Yeah.
You said it on here too. So.
Okay, all right. Such a good-looking guy. I would push him big time. I think he's got the Matt Riddle syndrome where he gets his own way with things, and he was such a star before he removed the mask and came over, or lost the mask and came over. And his family is so in the wrestling business, so I think he's seen that. It'd be like one of the Von Erichs coming in and not getting the push that they thought they deserved, which they probably did.
I was a frequent watcher of NXT when he came in there.
Oh yeah,
and man, I don't know that he really ever replicated the momentum outside of NXT in either WWE or AEW that he did when he came to NXT. Like, I had high hopes for that dude when he was there, and I don't think he ever quite lived up to the hype, unfortunately. But
big mark for him. He never, to me, it's a perfect example of why I would stay in WWE. I wouldn't care what they were doing with me. I would do my contract. Just same thing with Phoenix and stuff that we talked about earlier. All right,
ex-wife running around back there though, that might have something to do with him.
Yeah, he does have an ex-wife. That's right. I don't think I would want to work the same place my ex-wife worked. So there you go. All right, we're up to number 2, and God, this is a horrible story. Justin Credible came up with a story so that he could scam people out of money. Credible was at, I don't know if me and you talked about this, but he was at Memphis Wrestling. Stevie Richards even put a clip from Memphis Wrestling and was not in shape to work, really, but they used him for like a couple of seconds, and Simon beat him, and Simon was real light on him. He get an elbow smash on him, but even Stevie Richards said, hey, he took care of him. Couldn't get out of the ring. He finally got him out of the ring. But there's all kinds of pictures out there. I don't have any of them. I don't want to show them. But as Dutch Mantel said, and his friend James there on their podcast, this story just didn't add up, did it?
No, it feels like each month when Matt Riddle's doing stupid shit, Justin Credible's like, hold my meth, watch this. And then he blows him out of the water. backing up for a moment, you mentioned Just Incredible being on Memphis. And of course, as a part of that weekend in Memphis, he also came to EPW.
Oh yeah, I
the
forgot
minute
about
that got announced, I sent Neil a text. I was like, dude, what the fuck? Do you not keep up with things? And he's like, yes, I'll call you later. And so we had a conversation about it. Basically, he's like, no, he's like, when Dustin announced it, or at least let me know what he was doing, I want to know if I want to be in on it. I was like, dude, have you not been keeping up with all the shit he's been doing? And they had a conversation, and Dustin was confident that he would show up and do what needed to be done. And I don't know how, Just Incredible convinced him of that, but he did. And I'm sure there's got to be an interesting story that will be told on a podcast by Dustin somehow. I don't know. I haven't asked, but I just assume that getting him out in front of the TV in the shape he was in and getting it done has to involve some sort of story, I would think.
Yeah, I've heard the story. I don't know if we actually put it on one of the Shooting Star episodes, but I heard the story from him, and then I had talked to Simon also about it. So it'll be out there sometime. But this is just, I think it's funny by where he put you could tell, what are they, electrodes? He put them, and he was hooked up in a hospital bed, but you could tell he was on the couch or something.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's one of those deals where like he had an earbud taped in his nose or something that looked like oxygen, but oh man, this poor bastard. I mean, because a friend of mine had a little bit of dealings with him because he had reached out to him and wanted to do a podcast, and they kicked around the idea of maybe doing one, and then immediately after that, like, he's like, all right, well, we may look into doing a podcast together. Then like an hour later, he Just Incredible messaged the guys like, hey man, can you loan me $50 for my medication? I'm gonna die if I don't have it. And from what I understand, some of these promoters, that's his move. He'll get you to lock in on something and then immediately go, hey man, can you spot me $50? I've got to have it to pick up this medicine or I'm going to be in a bad way. Turns out he's already in a bad way. But this right here, I remember seeing him. I saw him post on social media. I was just in a wreck and I'm in trouble. And I kind of watched it play out in real time. And then afterwards, when it was exposed to just how big of a scam it was,
he did the hospital, and then later on he came back and said, oh yeah, I need a hotel room too, or a motel room. He needs a motel room. And guys, here's the thing. He's an addict, and I have a soft spot for addicts because I had them in my family. And here is, don't give him any money. He needs help, and he's not going to get help unless he decides he wants help. So that's not going to happen. It's really not going to happen right now with him. It's sad. It's very sad. But I thought those pictures were hilarious where he was putting all the, like, you can see where he took it off, and then he's not in a hospital room. He's in like an apartment or he's in a hotel room, looks like, and then he's asking for money for the hotel.
He realizes he needs another night. And so,
yeah. All right. So that was number 2. We're up to number 1. This is a sad story, but just so bizarre. When I get finished, I want to ask you a question.
Okay.
So Katsumi Samasaki, he was age 60. He was reported missing after last seen on a Thursday. They couldn't find him. He was working at a hot spring in one of the towns there in Japan. He was reportedly cleaning an outdoor bath as a facility when the incident occurred. After he went missing, authorities organized a search party of about 30 people to look for him. His body was later discovered near the inn where he was working, about 50 meters away in a wooded area. At the scene, investigators found bloodstains, animal fur, his personal belongings, and glasses, slippers, cleaning tools, a little bit of everything. So when you're reading it, you say, you don't read the headline, you think they found bloodstains. His personal animal fur? That's what I said at first.
Yeah.
He was attacked by a black bear and killed. So my question is, this fits right into what the fuck, because Have you ever heard of a wrestler or a referee? This man was a referee who got killed by a bear.
No, I'm not that I can think of. It says it was likely an Asiatic black bear, which is double racist, in my opinion. I don't think
it was too.
I don't think they should just assume anything. They didn't see it, so they don't know. But it says
he was
second
Asian
fatal
and
bear
black.
attack in this area since in recent times. So wow, that is definitely a WTF moment for sure, man. Dude,
as soon as I read it, I said, "There's no way anything can be topped by a referee getting killed by a black bear."
No,
I never, I guess, until probably about 15, 20 years ago, we started making fun of. There's a movie out there called Grizzly Man or something. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
And so we're watching the movie, and my friends, I got like halfway through the movie, and then I went to work. My friend said, "Did you watch Grizzly Man?" And I said, "I only got halfway through it." I said, "That motherfucker's gonna get ate, ain't he? I mean, that bear's gonna kill him." And they all just started laughing, and I was like, "What? What are y'all laughing about?" He goes, "Well, we hate to spoil it, BT, but you're right." So then we got to I got to studying black bears and taking a look at how big they are and all this. Motherfucker, these black bears are huge. There's one in one that's stuffed in Alaska in the airport. Try to look up that picture, guys, on Google. And you got a normal sized person standing up against that black bear, and you go, "Oh, fuck." And then you got all this, after you start doing studying, you got all, by the way, this is a black bear show. You got all these people who actively are against you killing black bears.
Yeah.
Here's what I want everyone to know. If they don't give a certain number that they can kill every year in Alaska, especially Alaska, then the black bears are going to take over the state. They will take, if they don't kill X amount every year, they will start multiplying over. That's why they do deers. That's why
right.
I don't know about squirrel.
Because you let them black bears take over, then all of a sudden the crime wave, crime goes up with robberies and muggings.
Especially the Asian ones. Man, we might have got racist there. Hey guys,
we're on Patreon now. Oh, we're fixing to be on Patreon. Never mind that, y'all.
Strike it out. All right. Same bad time, same bad channel. Thank you, everyone, for joining the live feed. We got a few more stories on Patreon. Nothing major. But join us. Join Patreon. We're always putting out shit. Shiznit. We're always putting out Shiznit.
There you go.
Same bad time, same bad channel on the Best of the Wrestling Podcast in the business. Be there. And as everyone knows, I love my mama.